Hi everyone, I'm making another video. I know it's been like 2 weeks since I posted my last video, so hopefully I'll be able to make this a long video and then I'll cut it up so there'll be multiple videos, because I wanted to go over our tasks that we did on Tuesday. And then, I'm in the classroom, so as a reminder, Mr. Alvarez is gonna be here in and out. He might make me making jokes, so just if you hear anything on the side, that's him. Anyway, so I know yesterday some of you guys were having a lot of issues with the tasks we did, and some of you were able to get through it really easily. So I wanted to do another walkthrough of it, especially task 1, where we had like the Jim and Pam at the animal sanctuary. Because that one, I think when we got to the fraction step, that kind of messed with everyone. It was like a lot of big numbers and big steps. So, oh, you're good. I already made my disclaimer that you'll be coming in and out. Alright. Okay, so I'm gonna go over task 1 again. I'll read it through, and then I should honestly fix this on the paper now. So, on the task, it's Jim and Pam own an animal sanctuary for dogs and cats. They go to their local adoption center to adopt some dogs and cats. In order to adopt, they have to pay a fee of $50 plus the cost of each dog and cat. By the end of the process, they pay $161 and leave with 3 dogs and 2 cats. So I know the one thing that was really confusing was I had one time in there, so that's just gone now. It's just a fee each time that they adopt. They have to pay $50. Alright, to continue. 1 month later, Jim and Pam adopt more dogs and cats and pay $247, leaving with 5 dogs and 4 cats. How much money did Jim and Pam have to pay per dog and cat? So, first thing we're gonna do, maybe you'll see the actual wording of the task card when I put it up over here. So we'll have that as a reference. So on their first visit, so for each adoption, there's a fee of $50. So we'll start with making both equations, starting them with $50. Okay? And then on the first visit, so we'll call this, we'll just put first next to this, and we'll put second next to this. On the first visit, they got 3 cats and 3 dogs, so we'll call X is equal to dogs. I guess the dog cost. And then we'll call Y cat cost. So they got 3 dogs on the first visit and 2 cats on the second visit. On the first visit. And that totaled $161. On the second visit, they got 5 dogs and 4 cats. And that totaled $247. Now we'll start with the first equation as our the one that we're kind of rearrange numbers and solve for stuff. So I'll start over here. We'll do 50 plus 3x plus 2y is equal to 161. Now the first thing we need to do is we have to get rid of the whole number on this left side. So we're going to subtract 50 from both sides. And that's going to leave us with 3x plus 2y is equal to $111. Now we have 2 options. We can either solve for y or we can solve for x. So in this case, I want to solve for y. So we're going to subtract 3x from both sides. This is gonna cancel out this 3x here. And then because there's no 3x here, and it's just only 111, we end up leaving it like that. So you'll have 2y is equal to 111 minus 3x. And then finally, we're going to divide both sides by 2 to get rid of this 2 in front of that y. These are going to cancel out, and that's going to turn into a 1. And we get that, maybe y is equal to 111 minus 3x over 2. Let me make that a little bit bigger. Over 2. Now I know a lot of you may want to just do division straight away and make these into decimals or into like other fractions, but we'll actually keep it just like this. It's going to be a little handy to keep it in this form. Alright, now the next step is to take this value and substitute it in for one of our y values. Now if we substitute it in for the first equation up over here, what's going to happen is everything's going to kind of cancel out. So we didn't actually end up getting to do it, so I'll show you exactly what happens if you do that to the first one, just as an example. So you wouldn't be doing this, but we'll see what happens if we do. So we're going to plug in this value. So we're just putting in place of y this thing. Since y is equal to this, if there's a y, we can say that this also exists over there. Okay. Now if we did the same thing, we subtracted 50 from both sides. That cancels out. This turns into 111. We'll bring the 3x down, and then the 2's over here will cancel out. So that would just be 111 minus 3x, and we can start to see that everything's just going to be 0 is equal to 0. Because if we subtract 111 from both sides, we get that 3x minus 3x is equal to 0, and that doesn't really solve for anything, so we can't do that. That's why if you use one equation to get something, you can't plug that value back into the same equation. This is what will happen. So we're going to get the second equation ready to go. 50 plus 5x plus 4, and then we're gonna, in place of that y, we're gonna put our fraction. So it's 111 minus 3x over 2, and that's gonna be equal to 247. Now, just like we did before, we can do a couple steps right away. We will subtract 50 from both sides. Right, these are going to cancel out, it's going to be 0. We'll bring the 5x down, and then this will become 197. Now the reason I said to keep the fraction as is and how it'll actually work out, this 4 over here, if you multiply it into this fraction, it actually just cancels out the 2, because this 4 is, it's just 2 times 2, and we know that 2 over 2 is just going to equal 1, so we can take one of those out. So instead, we're going to get 2 times 111 minus 3x. Look at that. Fraction's gone. And we didn't have to do anything. We kept it as a fraction, and now it's disappeared. Sometimes we get lucky like that. Sometimes you have to rearrange it, but in this case, we got lucky. All right. We're gonna multiply that 2 throughout this entire thing in the parentheses. That's gonna give us 5x plus 222 minus 6x equals 197. And then we're going to subtract 222 from both sides. Let me get my calculator, make sure I do that right. Let's see, 197 minus 222. That's gonna give us a negative 25. It's okay, we have a negative number right now, because when you combine 5x and negative 6x, that's gonna give you a negative x. Now we're not done. We have one more step to do. We can't have negative numbers. Well, let me rephrase that. We can't have a negative variable. We want to solve for the actual variable, so positive value. And remember, there's always a imaginary 1 in front of those x. So we're going to divide both sides by negative 1. And we're going to get that x is equal to 25. So I kind of went a little fast, so I'll just give you a couple minutes, just look at it. And then we'll do a quick review, and then we'll go and plug in x into this little thing over here to solve for y. So we started out with our two equations being given to us. We decided to take our first equation, and then we solve for our y value. We subtracted the whole numbers from both sides, so that there's only variables here. And then from there, we just needed to solve for y. Subtract 3x from both sides. This cancels out. This just gets added on over here like this. We have 2y is equal to 111 minus 3x. We need to get that y by itself, so we'll divide 2 on both sides, giving us this fraction here, which is y is equal to 111 minus 3x. We take our second equation and put in this value in for where y is over here. We'll subtract the whole numbers on both sides, so we only have variables over here. This gives us 5x plus 2 times 111 minus 3x, and the reason we have this 2 times 111 minus 3x instead of this fraction is because 4 was in front of the fraction. 4 and 2, you know, they can be canceled out a little bit. 4 is just 2 times 2, so we'll take one of the 2's from that 4, and we'll take the 2 at the bottom, and we'll cancel them out. And we have all of that's going to be equal 197. Then we'll subtract the whole numbers from both sides after multiplying that 2 into this parentheses over here. And that gives us negative 1x equals to negative 25, and that negative 1x comes from the 5 subtracting 6x. We need to divide both sides by negative 1 in order to turn this variable from negative to positive, giving us x equals 25. Now, we're going to plug in that x equals 25 over here. So y is equal to 111 minus 3 times 25 over 2. Y is equal to 111 minus 75 over 2. This is going to give us y is equal to 36 over 2. And we get that y is equal to 18. So our final answers are x is equal to 25, y is equal to 18. That means it costs $25 per dog, and it costs $18 per cat. Now this is a pretty cheap adoption agency for animals. I know they usually cost a little bit more, but this is what we got.